Hello.
Hello.
Episode 2.
Yep.
We made it back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're going to do this again.
Yep. I'm Greg.
I'm Austin.
And you're listening to the Fill in the Blank podcast, Life After Film School.
Yeah. In the future, I think I want to say that.
Oh, really?
No, you just say the first part.
Oh, I say you're listening to the Fill in the Blank podcast.
Life After Film School.
Okay, yeah, that's what we'll do.
That's what we'll do. I'm just trying to set up a little...
Mm-hmm. So this is episode 002.
That's right.
Somehow, there was more than one episode.
That's right. Although I will say, that hopefully this one will be a little shorter than the previous one.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, last time we threw in everything.
We did.
Just to see what people liked and didn't like.
Yeah.
But now we're back with some...
With some more pod.
To cast. which we shall cast for you, before your very eyes.
So, today, let's give a little rundown of what we're doing today.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think we're going to start with... Oh, we already did that. We already started with some Tex and Diego music.
We did start with Tex and Diego music. No, we're going to... our main topic is going to be stop motion.
Animation.
Via our prism of doing that with Legos.
And also
on a larger level.
Right, just looking at, everything about stop motion, what we like about it, what we don't like about it.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
And it's really for our Lego fans, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All 12 of you.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a little segment on podcasting in general. How do you do it? Because I just had to learn. I took a crash course over
Very impressive,
weekend.
Actually, to watch from the outside.
And so it is...
I kept saying, let me help you, but he didn't need any help, man.
Mm-mm.
You took it to the streets, if I may say.
I did take it to the streets. It's not as easy as you might have thought.
But not as hard as...
No, I think anybody could do it. It's just a matter of taking the time to figure it out.
Yeah, it's not prohibitively hard.
So I'm going to kind of go through some of that in case anyone's interested.
And then before we finish, I will go over a classic of the cinema that I'm recommending to everybody.
All right. And then I saw Side Effects.
Right.
So I'm going to do a quick review of that.
Soderbergh, right?
Soderbergh, his last film.
Right, whatever.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And that should wrap it up. So hopefully we'll keep it a little bit tighter this time.
Yeah, I think so.
So quickly, Oscars happened.
Yep, they did. If you listened to our last podcast, you heard all of our picks and stuff like that.
We didn't, if you take the picks where we said we thought this one will win,
right?
We didn't do that bad.
No, we really didn't.
If you take the picks where we were like, this is the one I like the best, we were horrible.
Well, yeah, but that's usually every year.
Yeah.
Every year. We tell you what should win, and then what will win, and... What will win is pretty much what happens.
Yeah.
I would say one of the only real surprises to me was that I thought that a late costume designer would trump...
Yeah, I was going to bring you to task on that.
Yeah, I thought that would trump big flowy dresses. Apparently, people have no respect anymore, and they're going to choose the big flowy dresses every time.
They're like, hey, this one took place in the 1800s, so it wins.
Yeah, it has to.
Yeah.
A woman wore a big dress.
That's what they like.
That's what they like.
And they like the sets, too. They go, this set.
I do want to say that I am in no way saying that Anna Karenina had bad costumes. Or anything.
No.
It had wonderful. I'm just saying, I really thought that...
Dead Lady would win.
Yes, I really did. And I was wrong.
And then the other one that I was sorely upset about was Best Documentary.
Searching for Sugarman. I understand that you were upset about that.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, and now that we have a podcast, we have it on record, I did not force you to not choose Searching for Sugarman.
Okay, you can take the technicality, I suppose.
I will take the technicality on that, yes. I'll take any way out of that I can get.
And then, of course, the massive disappointment, but not shocking visual effects category.
And cinematography.
Cinematography. Almost more upsetting. Because visual effects, we knew it was going to be Life of Pi, even though they were awful.
Right.
Cinematography, very upsetting.
My biggest thing with the Life of Pi is that they kept showing that shot of the underwater animals.
Were shot in the movie.
Which
they tend to do.
Which is kind of just like thumbing your nose at everybody who didn't think it should win. Like,
it was.
Like, here's the worst shot of the whole movie. It looks like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Haha.
Yep, here's animals floating. They're just like big cheeks puffed out, holding their breath. Just like, I'm floating. I'm an animal floating.
Yep.
And I look like a cartoon.
So
those are the best. Those are the best of the year.
Right.
And the cinematography is a travesty because it didn't even, like, it's all green screen again. And I guess, yes, I don't take any credit away.
I understand that. I still say that it's a political maneuver by cinematographers to make sure that they still have a job in the coming digital future.
Oh, that's right. Just letting the effects people know that we will take your credit.
Yeah.
Well, I saw...
And I support that.
Yeah. Okay, I agree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I saw an interesting article about how visual effects people are kind of... Like, I guess that guy, he's the guy who got Jaws music'd off.
Yeah. No, I know.
He was pissed.
Yeah.
And he went backstage and was more pissed.
Yep.
Because... Well, he was making...
That's why on Facebook right now you'll see a lot of green picture, like people's pictures are just green screens.
Yeah.
In support of this.
Yeah. Well, I like it. They're like the only non-unionized.
I know.
Part.
There's something I hadn't really known a lot about before this.
I hadn't really even thought about it.
Yeah.
I just assumed they were. And that's not...
I figure if actors can get it together, these guys probably could.
Well, right, and it's kind of just like, it's kind of sucky that you're just like, we're downsizing. Like every show, you get laid off.
Right.
Even if you like are employed by a large effects house, and then these effects houses all go bankrupt because if they don't get a show lined up,
right,
they can't do it. But then they have to staff up bigger, and then it's like, well, we only have one show, we got to staff down, so it's tough.
Yeah.
So I agree with them.
Yeah.
Plus,
not much really to say about that except for do it.
Yeah, well, and it's a mind numbing, like compositing, just frame by frame.
I really couldn't do it.
Tracing someone's hair.
I really give them a lot of respect because I know for a fact I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience. It's like putting together a puzzle or something. Like
I can do that.
I know, but you could probably be a compositor.
Yeah. For a while.
Yeah.
Go postal.
We'll see what happens when ILM calls you and says, "Hey, you want to be a compositor?"
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're moving up to Marin County.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, I will.
Yeah. That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
So that was that. I don't really think there's too much to be said. Sad that Henry didn't win.
No, but yeah, I mean, overall, it was. I don't know that there were really any super surprises that night. It was an enjoyable show. I liked the song about boobs.
But, yeah, I thought he did a good job.
Yeah,
and
I liked the song about boobs, and I liked the Sound of Music.
Well, the Sound of Music was the best part.
That was the best.
That was by far the best part. Yeah. And then Tarantino got up there and just made a complete ass of himself.
Right. I know.
He just talked about how great he was and how
it was really just a lot of backdoor compliments.
His?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they weren't even thinly veiled.
No, but he did the equivalent of what I have a hard time, like, as to quote 30 Rock, I have a hard time watching American Idol because I have perfect pitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a lot of compliments like that where it sounds like you're going to say something like, "Oh, that's too bad," but it turns out that you're patting yourself.
Yeah, he wanted to pat the actors on the back, but it turned out it was only because he picked them to be in his movie.
And that they were going to be portraying the characters that he created.
Uh-huh.
Which, as an actor, I would have to stand up and be like, at least we have to share credit. I'm not saying that the actor deserves full credit, because the writer did write it.
Yeah.
But we got to share, because you're saying I added nothing to your character?
I added nothing to it. And then my favorite one, which was, well, this is the greatest year ever for screenwriting. Oh, I won it.
Right.
Like,
see,
there's never been a better year for screenwriting than this year. The year that I happened to win.
But to be fair, and I think we should end on this point, you're talking about someone being self-gratifying and self-indulgent on a night where actors are giving themselves awards.
Well, that's true.
So,
Yeah. I have to say, though, I mean, besides his pompousness, which was completely expected, Anne Hathaway was really the only one who went for the super, oh, I'm just so honored that I got to portray such a character. She's the only one who did it. Everyone else was just like, yay, I'm happy, thanks.
Yeah.
She's the only one who went a little.
Yeah, but you know what?
Actory.
Yeah, but I don't blame her for that. You have to remember she's had the last few months to do nothing but think about what she was going to say here, since everybody in the world
that's
saying
true.
that
That's true.
You're going to win. You're going to win.
I guess, and you're right.
That sucks.
If you know you're going to win, then your speech becomes douchier the longer you wait.
It
no
pickles.
Yeah.
I don't want to say douchier. It pickles. Okay, it stews and it pickles.
It becomes self-informed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you start out with one draft, and by the time last night came, she was probably her 32nd draft.
Yeah.
And had been informed by her manager, her representation. Everybody was like, make sure you say this. Make sure you don't want to come off like a bitch. Mm-hmm. And, I could see she was genuinely excited and trying her best just to do what she thought she had to do.
Yeah. No, it was it wasn't bothersome.
No. It just was a little pickly.
Yeah. Bothered. And then the only other final thought is Ang Lee. Annoying. Well, not only did his move have to win and everything else, then he had to win. And I don't think anyone really had him. I mean, I guess if you didn't think Spielberg was going to win, you thought he was going to win.
Yeah.
And I was
just hoping Spielberg
Academy, if you're gonna obviously let us know that you realize you made a mistake by not nominating Ben Affleck and having his movie win, then give the best director to Spielberg. He's got better things to say.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, well, speaking of that, I saw a program on PBS.
Uh-huh.
There's this Scene It show where they review movies.
Oh, okay.
They get a group of film students together.
I have not seen this.
Not too different, I guess, from what you and I are doing, and yet very different from what we are doing. Just because they got the students that we will talk about in future weeks.
Okay.
But one guy was swearing up and down that Daniel Day-Lewis would not win because nobody wants to see someone win the most Oscars of all time.
This was a student?
Yes. He was saying that the Oscars won't want to give him a third Oscar because nobody's won 3 Oscars before. And I was like, what is this? And he's like, well, I don't want to see that happen. I don't think Daniel Day-Lewis deserves to be named the greatest actor of all time.
Why not?
That's pretty much what you're doing if you give him 3 Oscars.
Why can't he be?
I don't know. I'm talking about it now because I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I sat in my living room watching this wondering, where the hell do you get off, buddy?
Yeah, who cares what you think, by the way?
Right.
Apparently, someone cared enough to put him on TV.
And I'm caring enough to talk about it right now.
You're feeding right into it.
I'm feeding right into it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, something that I wanted to talk about this week is cartoon food.
Oh, you like Ninja Turtle pizza, how good it looks?
That, among many other things. I think a great example of this is fish.
Cartoon fish.
Cartoon fish. Think about, I'm talking older cartoons now.
Uh-huh.
We're talking Looney Tunes days, old, classic Mickey Mouse days.
Okay.
They would show a spread of food.
Yeah.
A kingly spread of food that obviously in the Great Depression was something that people needed to see. But on the table, oftentimes they would have a fish. It's a whole fish.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fairly realistic looking.
Mm-hmm.
Head, tail. Everything. With just a big, huge pat of butter.
Yeah.
Melting on it. Now, I do not like fish. That fish looks delicious.
I'm not so much into that fish.
Oh, that fish looks delicious. Just like, if you're not into that fish, why don't we talk turkey?
Oh, that looks fantastic.
The steam coming off of it?
It's when they take a bite of the leg.
And it kind of stretches.
It stretches, and then it's just like a perfect little bite out of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why can't my turkey eat like that? But that's what I'm saying. The top one for me is Ninja Turtles pizza.
Really? Ninja Turtles pizza?
That's the best. That's the food I want to eat the most from a cartoon.
Okay, well, that's just because the cheese looks so good.
Yeah.
The cheese looks really good. I would also argue that Wimpy's hamburgers, once again, I'm going back a little ways to Popeye days now.
But they don't have anything on them. It's just meat and bread.
It's just meat and bread.
It's just meat and bread.
It kind of has a little bit of a sloppy Joe like texture.
It could be a sloppy Joe.
Yeah, but I just say he takes a bite and it's the way they chew it. Their whole mouth moves around.
It's like a cow.
It is kind of like a cow, but they look totally unhealthy and incredibly delicious.
Yeah.
Which I think totally unhealthy and incredibly delicious should be the sequel to what is it? Extremely Close.
Incredibly loud. Incredibly loud and extremely close.
There you go. Yeah.
It's about going to McDonald's. Or?
Yeah, no, it's about cartoon food. It's a history of cartoon food and a child who lost his father.
Featuring Tom Hanks.
Yes. The other one that I want to bring up is corn. When eaten in cartoons, is eaten like a typewriter.
Well, that's how I eat it anyways, though.
Yes, but you in real life don't get the satisfying ding when you make it to the end of a row.
True. No, in my head I do.
Sure, but that's because I think we both seen it's Mickey's Holiday or whatever.
Yeah,
where they're
in the mobile home.
Yes.
Yeah,
and they have the cool
the background that folds out behind it,
and he just totally steals corn out of some farmer's field as they're driving, milks some guy's cow, but makes a delicious looking meal.
He does.
Yeah,
and the other one about the cartoons to me is also, for some reason, a lot of times they picture people's heads as food.
Well, sometimes it's their head, sometimes it's their whole body.
Sometimes you just turn into like a turkey, and it's always a turkey.
Yeah.
Which I never, when I picture someone, when I'm that hungry that I want to eat someone, it's never a turkey.
Yeah, but for you, everything's quesadillas.
I don't even think I think it might be, I might just be picturing him as Ninja Turtle pizza.
All right, fair enough. And since we're talking about people turning into food, I do want to throw a shout out to Charlie Chaplin. Being one of the only
Did he turn into food?
Well, no. But he's one of the only live action movies I've seen. It's The Gold Rush, where he chose to use the cartoon trope of people turning into food out of hunger. He used it in live action.
What did they turn into? I haven't seen that one.
I'm trying to remember. It's The Gold Rush. Go check it out. It's been a while, but he ends up eating his boot instead. But
he thinks his boot is another.
No, he looks at someone. Yeah, it's.
Oh, he does want to be a cannibal.
Well, if you've gone so delirious that someone looks like a turkey to you, do you really get in trouble for cannibalism, or do you get more in trouble because you lost your damn
mind? The best is when someone like looks at Donald and then he turns into like a roast duck, because then it's not so bad because you're like, well, he is a duck.
He is a duck.
Why wouldn't you look at him like food?
I don't know. I don't like that though.
You don't?
Mm-mm. Because it hits too close to home.
Yeah, are you a duck?
No, well, no, but he really is a duck, and picturing him as a roast duck, like you start to realize, hey, wait a minute, he is a duck.
Yeah.
And if you roasted him, that's exactly what he would look like. But he's anthropomorphic enough that it would kind of feel like.
Well, how come I don't? Here's the
cartoonablism.
Yeah. Well, he wears. I mean, he's got his shirt. I can picture a duck on.
Are we really going to get into the pants issue here?
No.
Okay.
We're going to talk about his spats. That he sometimes just wears.
Oh, that's true.
No shoes, just spats on his duck feet.
That's true. He does do that, but that's classy.
It is.
This is the 40s. You have to dress up sometimes.
But I like that he was like, because normally you'd put on your shoes and your spats. And he was like, I'm not putting on shoes because I'm a duck.
Right.
Like there's no duck shoes, but I will wear the spats. I will go ahead and grab the spats. Like,
I'm guessing he has trouble finding shoes that fit those feet.
If there's duck spats, somebody has to make duck shoes.
Okay, very good point. But duck spats, I feel like you could tailor those, but duck shoes are gonna. We're talking about a rich duck. He could afford someone to make him some shoes.
Yeah, Scrooge is wearing duck spats all over the place.
All the time.
Yeah.
He's wearing duck spats, a really nice robe, a top hat, but no pants.
Even when he's adventuring, he puts on duck spats sometimes.
That's true. But those might be duck gaiters.
For the snow, duck gaiters.
That
would be good.
But since we're talking about it, I'll go up and bring up that Mickey Mouse is the best dressed cartoon in history.
Really? Mm-hmm. He's just wearing suspenders.
No, he's not even wearing those. Most of the time he's just wearing his little red shorts, with shoes and gloves.
Well, the gloves are nice.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like he's going to fold an American flag all the time.
But Mickey wears that traditionally, yes. But all the time he's wearing a full tuxedo. All the time.
Yeah, at Disneyland he's in a tux.
All the time. In old cartoons, he's conducting. He when he's playing Michelle Mouse, conducting the symphony.
Yeah.
One of the funniest cartoons ever made.
Okay.
He's wearing a full tuxedo.
Yeah.
The orchestra, the one where he's outside with the band and stuff. He's wearing full tux and a hat.
But what about his wizard outfit? That's like the iconic.
That's another iconic one, but still, that's full clothing. What other cartoon character wears a full body's worth of clothing?
No, that's true.
This is why I declare him best dressed cartoon.
Well, Goofy does.
Goofy does, you're right.
He wears full.
He wears a turtleneck, long pants, shoes, a hat, a vest.
Yeah. I think it's because the animators were like, I don't know what he is.
So, he's obviously a dog, but they needed to...
They didn't know what to put underneath, like, because he does not have the proportions of a dog.
No, he's totally a man dog.
So what would they draw
And it's unfair
there?
standing next to Pluto, and they had to be together. So they're like,
yeah,
well,
that's
we better
really
dress him
weird,
up.
too. Yeah, why would they do that? Man dog. It's because, Goofy was first, and then they were like, we should give Mickey a pet, and then that makes absolutely no sense, because then that makes, like, you could believe that, like, Mickey lived in a world of all animals, but once he has a pet dog, now I have to assume that he's the largest mouse ever on the planet.
Right.
Because I know how big the dog is.
Right.
Also, they like to tell me that Pluto's a golden retriever, and he's clearly not.
He's clearly not.
He's a hound of some kind.
He's definitely a hound of some kind. He's a conglomeration of all dogs, big dogs.
Yeah. But they're always like, we looked at golden retrievers and then animated Pluto. I was like, why'd you draw him like you drew him then?
Yeah, no, I think there's some wiggle room there in terms of what kind of dog Pluto is. Hound of some kind.
Yeah. Well, he barks like a hound, too.
Yeah. All right,
well...
things that we will talk about in future things. Snobs. The fact that Mickey Mouse may, in fact, be black. And
he is?
Well, yeah, I know. I know that.
Oh.
When I was a tour guide at Disneyland, I used to, all the time on tour, tell people that Mickey Mouse was the first black actor to win an Oscar. Because ostensibly that's true.
Well, he is black.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who thinks he's not? Walt Disney.
Walt Disney,
right? All right, let's get to our topic of the day.
I think so. Topic of the day, which is stop motion animation in all of its various forms, and most notably... our Lego movies.
Yeah, let's start broadly, and then narrow ourselves down.
Sure. So,
I like it.
I like it. I like it quite a bit, actually.
Okay, so I did notice this because I was watching, I was flipping channels, and that Pirates Band of Misfits.
Sure.
Which is Aardman.
Mm-hmm.
But it's CGI.
It is?
I believe it's CGI, but it looks like stop motion.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Which is how that mouse movie they did.
Flushed Away.
The Flushed Away
surprisingly
was as well.
good, actually. I actually enjoyed that one.
I don't like that. I understand the necessity of budgets.
I do too. And time.
And why they do that, but I don't. But then I'm like, just make your own. Like, don't make your CGI stuff look like your claymation stuff.
Well, especially because the Aardman, I like their claymation stuff so much with Wallace and Gromit.
They're really the best at the stop motion.
They really are.
There's really
Chicken Run's fantastic movie.
Yeah, you got the other group who are like the Coraline and
the Henry Selick people,
the Burton Henry Selick people,
right?
And they do their thing, but they do kind of a weird mix.
Yeah, it's a pleasing mix though because they use special effects in their stop motion the same way live action uses special effects. Which
They'll
is,
have
I
some,
think,
like animatronic stuff and things like that involved in it. Yeah, no, I like that.
Which I really like because I feel like that highlights the fact that, which is one of the reasons I like stop motion, is that you're dealing in a real medium. It's a real three-dimensional physical item, the same way that live action is.
Yeah, and you can tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and you can tell that it's like I like that. They can at the same time, like if I look around, I'm like, look, there's fingerprints on stuff. Right. But also they can, if they're good enough with their story, then I don't even think about that.
Doesn't matter.
And
well, hold on, before we get too deep into this, I just want to know, name me one stop motion animated film that you think is like one of your favorite.
The Wallace and Gromit shorts are probably my favorite. If you wanted me to pick a feature.
No, you can choose the Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
I think that's a valid choice. Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen those, definitely go check them out.
Yeah.
They have a complete collection on Blu-ray.
Yeah, they've got a lot of things.
Yeah. They're very good. I'm going to have to be a little bit obvious and just say that one that really kind of stands out to me is The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, after that, of course, the greatest stop motion creation of all time, the original King Kong.
I don't think so.
No, it's really fantastic.
But I don't think so.
It really is. I don't know when the last time you went back and watched that, but you need to go back and see it again, obviously.
It's fine. It just...
No.
Oh, okay, we're done? That's it? You're just going to cut it off?
No, I'm just saying, you're wrong about this.
Whatever I'm about to say, I'm wrong?
No, go ahead, say it. Let's hear what erroneous information you're about to spread.
I'm just about to say that at the time it was the greatest, and now it looks like crap. But I can totally go back and really enjoy it for what it was. Sorry.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not, because I speak the truth.
You do not.
Well, it doesn't have to look good by today's standards for me to really appreciate it.
No, the reason I'm saying that it's the greatest is not because it's the most technically advanced or that it hasn't been topped in terms of technicalities.
Yeah.
I will agree with you in that.
Yeah.
I'm saying in terms of eliciting emotion, the same way you just said you could watch something that has fingerprints all over it, but you forget about it.
Yeah.
I'm saying King Kong, the original claymation one, still elicits as much, if not more, emotion than even the really fantastic Andy Serkis one that just came out.
What was that?
The King Kong, Peter Jackson King Kong. Andy Serkis did a fantastic. He was the only good part about that movie in my. Well, I shouldn't say the only good part. That's unfair. But he was my favorite part.
But
of that
Brody was
movie.
in it, so that was obviously.
Yeah. But the original King Kong's still fantastic. Now, what I was saying is that Nightmare Before Christmas, because I saw it when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Is that really opened my eyes to stop motion animation. And a lot of people I know would probably choose those horrible Christmas shorts. I'm not a big fan of the classic, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
No, those are awful.
I think they're terrible.
I don't like. I kind of have a nostalgia for them.
I do not.
But like I don't think they're technically good.
I never had a nostalgia for them.
Someone may just be like, "What are you talking about?" But they don't look technically good to me.
Yeah, no, I don't have a nostalgia for them. Even though, and I do appreciate the irony of not having a nostalgia for them, because Nightmare Before Christmas is supposed to be a reaction to them.
Yeah.
So I am fully aware of this irony, and I don't care.
Well, I just don't like that I'm supposed to accept some of the, like Santa and Rudolph. Yeah, they're Christmassy. But this Yukon guy.
You talking about the snowman, Burl Ives?
No, the snowman's awesome because he's Burl Ives.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about Yukon Jack or whatever, and the guy, the frickin' elf who is a dentist. I don't accept them as part of my Christmas time. I don't want them in it.
No, I agree.
Like, if you want to air that on CBS, you can, but I don't want to see decorations on someone's lawn with the dentist guy.
Oh yeah, no. You're talking about the little elf dude.
The main elf guy who wants to be a dentist for some strange reason. What kind of elf wants to be a dentist? Like, he's going to have to stand on a ladder.
I don't know, maybe a responsible elf he's trying to provide for his...
He's going to have to stand on a ladder to work on everyone.
No, the chairs go up and down.
But they don't go down far enough for an elf.
Oh, you may be right about that.
That's what I'm saying. You put the chair all the way down, the elf's still not going to be able to get in there.
Maybe he has more of a Moroccan feel in his office where you lay on the floor.
Now, on the other hand, he's got elf-sized hands, so that would be nice.
Right, you could get in there. You wouldn't be just, you don't get that stretchy latex glove finger in your mouth.
Yeah. But then I feel like he would be even worse about talking to you and asking you questions while they have 5 things in your mouth.
Okay, he would be worse about it, and you would start to get really upset because he'd be like,
yeah,
he'd be like,
God, stop talking.
I'm never coming back here again. Yeah, no.
So, I think that they're going away.
Well, they're becoming more like what I think, unfortunately, an actual movie shot completely on film and stuff like that is, which is a novelty.
No, they're not novelties yet.
Not yet, but I'm saying that's where we're headed.
I don't think so.
I do.
No, because Spielberg's never going to shoot on anything.
Spielberg's going to die one day, though.
What? No, he's not. Don't talk like that. Oh my God.
No, I know, and there's still the Spielbergs and the Nolans, because Nolan still shoots and finishes all of his films on film.
All those guys.
But I'm telling you, I don't know that that's going to last forever. I think in our lifetimes we will see actual, celluloid film become. I don't think it'll ever go away completely. I just think it may be a bit of a bit more of a novelty. Be like, ooh, this film was shot on film.
Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 9 best pictures were shot on film.
I understand that.
Okay.
I'm not saying that this is 2014, the end of film. No, I'm saying that
and that's in
our lifetimes.
Yeah, I get it. I don't care as much as people think I should.
Well, I don't have a problem with it. I just...
it's never something that I'll be able to afford, so I don't really care at that point as far as me being...
Well, never say never, Greg.
Well, I'll say never.
Well, I'm not going to say never, because if you could afford it...
I would.
I would be one of those people who would still want to shoot on film.
Well, yeah, I would too, but it turns out you can shoot something that people can't tell the difference.
Exactly. See, and that's why I'm saying eventually it'll become...
Well, right.
But we're not talking about that. I'm talking about stop-motion animation.
Yeah, what the heck?
I was just comparing it for a brief moment, but you...
Why did you do that?
You got all upset because I told you Spielberg was going to die one day.
Well, wouldn't you?
Obviously not, because I said it. I'm not happy about it. But thus, it happens to everyone. Either way, I think stop-motion animation becomes more and more of a novelty as we go on.
Yeah.
I don't like that because, like I said, the real reason I think that stop-motion is important and the reason I like it is because of that physical reality.
Yeah. Well, it's the same reason why...
You're about to say what I was about to say, but go ahead.
Are you about to talk about Star Wars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same reason why the original Star Wars stuff, especially Return of the Jedi, still looks to me better than
any
the
of the
new
prequels.
stuff
Absolutely.
because it's models.
Absolutely. Anytime you're dealing with models, there is some absolutely fantastic CGI out there, mind-blowingly good stuff. But there's something when you see a model where like your brain knows that at some point it actually existed.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to classify that feeling or why it...
Well, and I've been fooled before. But,
I've been fooled,
more
sure.
often than not.
More often than not, I'm not.
Yeah. I like it when my favorite thing ever is when I'm like, well, that was CGI, and then like, it wasn't. Right. That's when I get really happy about special effects. Yeah. But that one never wins best visual effects, just so you know.
And I'm just a big fan of using all the tricks in your book rather than just, well, it's going to be CGI.
Well, I think it's also a lazy thing, because I don't exactly know the costs of these things, but I have to imagine that getting a guy to come do something on set
is more expensive.
At a certain point, it's got to be cheaper than having 15 digital artists sitting there.
It depends on what it is.
It depends on if it's like a massive setup that you're going to have to only be able to do one a day.
Right. Once again, we're getting a little bit off topic here, so I'm going to kick us back to the topic.
Would you stop it? I'm just going to lay all the blame on you.
That's fine. You can lay all the blame on me, because this is a topic for another day, one which I think should come soon, which is the benefits and downfalls of CGI. Because I have a whole thing to talk about being able to do whatever you imagine is not a good thing.
No, it's true.
But
okay, so let me get back. Okay, so let's switch it over to But that's our. I mean, we've said what we want to say about.
Well, obviously we do love
we
stop
like
motion
it.
animation.
It's going away. That's too bad.
I don't think it'll ever go away completely.
No, it's not going to go away completely. Just nothing will ever go away completely.
No,
there's always someone that wants to keep it alive, which is good.
Yeah.
But so Lego movies are something that is taking off on the internet.
Yeah, and I am kind of pleased to say that we got in somewhat of the ground floor.
Well, we kind of did, because I should Google that right now. When YouTube started, because I have a feeling that it's been less time than you'd think.
Yeah, no,
YouTube's been around, but it's like huge right now with Lego movies. 2005?
Yeah, I was going to guess 2006.
2005 is when it was founded, which means all of our Lego movies were made prior to YouTube existing.
That's correct. Because the last one was finished in 2005, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then, I mean, we went back and redid all the sound and stuff in like 2008 or something.
All the, right, and the music and the...
But yeah, so... And here's what I did discover in my search for information to talk about. Mm-hmm. If we would put the word Lego in the title, that would probably help us get more hits.
Really?
Yes. When you search Lego, you get a bunch of movies with Lego in the title, shockingly. Not shockingly, actually.
Right.
Ours don't have that, because we were just like, well, this is what it's called.
Well, then maybe
I think a keyword. I think we have Lego as a keyword, but I don't think we have it.
It's not in the title. It's not in the title. I never, you know, as lame as this sounds, I never thought about that.
No, I didn't. Well, we didn't. We rarely think about it anyway.
That's first of all, when they were made, they were never intended to be searched for on the internet, because there was no such thing as YouTube. We did not envision that would be a possibility.
Yeah.
And the reason that I would say we never put Lego in is because the Legos were incidental to us making these films.
Well, right.
Well, I mean, you can go ahead and talk about it if you want, but why did we decide to make?
Well,
these
let me
movies?
get back. Well, let me get before we get into that, so it's not just us talking about our Lego movies that we made.
Do everything you want to do.
I just don't want it to be us talking about our Lego movies that we made a decade ago.
I understand. I was just going to give that to the people real quick. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll get that.
We'll get there. I know.
Transition
Go ahead.
to that. What I've noticed on the YouTube. Well, first of all, there's brick films.
Brick films.
Which was like a big thing. Like I remember seeing newspaper articles about it. I went on there. Not so much in my mind.
Really?
I'm like, really? This is what this website is?
Why?
There's not a whole lot on it.
Oh.
Like as far as I could tell, or it's a badly designed website, because it was hard to figure out. Like I could only see like the most recent things, and I was like, well, how do I
view the archive or whatever?
You know, quality's not that great. Then you go on YouTube. There's like 7 million, and there's some with, you know, this one guy, Michael Hickox, I guess. He's like, obviously, from my quick perusal, the most popular. He's got 7-12 million hits.
Right. Now, is this the guy you were telling me about that just does everyday things?
Yeah, that's what I noticed so far. He's got some of the smoothest... I mean, he's a fantastic animator.
Okay.
With the Legos. Like, it's super smooth. But and they are entertaining, but they're just Lego people doing... Like, there's one where it's just, like, shopping at the store. Lego guy goes to the store, like, pulls up in the parking lot, goes inside, is shopping... And he's cool because he kind of custom builds the sets, because obviously there's no Lego shopping center.
Okay.
And there's like one where it's like some Lego people playing miniature golf. And he's got sound design, and there's like little birds chirping in the background and stuff, and they have different types of little ball hitting sounds and whatnot. So like that's kind of amusing, but there's no storyline really to them.
It's supposed to be just a novelty.
It's like a nice...
Hey, Legos are doing something.
Well, it's like, oh, look, Legos do whatever people... Which I like as a concept.
Okay.
But it's also... It's just... I don't know. I was like, really? This many hits? But I don't want to hate on things, because...
Right. No. There's no hating going on. It's just interesting to see what it is that people will click on.
And then there's these other ones that are like full, massive visual effects phantasmagoricals. There's like a Captain America one where he just like is emaciating other Legos, and it's bloody, and there's, you know, all
now that sounds like something I want to click on.
That one's pretty fun.
Okay.
And he's just like throws his shield and chops off Lego people's heads, and there's blood, and there's all sorts of you know, bullet effects and lots of like visual effects applied.
Okay.
And then the other ones I notice, and then so here's my one thing that I will come out and be like, I don't like this. Stop doing this, people.
Okay, we're gonna get some serious.
Yeah,
you're gonna take it to the streets on
this. Don't tempt me. Okay. I don't like that. I would say the majority of the Lego movies on the internet are just people being like, scene from this movie.
Oh.
Here's Pulp Fiction. Here's a scene from Pulp Fiction with Legos.
Right.
Here's this scene from Spider-Man with Legos. Look, it's Pearl Harbor with Legos.
Oh.
Look, here's this Argo opening with Legos. Why do I need that?
Right, I don't.
And I don't know what that... And I guess if you're doing it purely for fun, go ahead. But if you're trying to be creative, it's not, in my mind.
I agree with you.
You're just redoing something.
Well,
with
sure.
Legos.
I mean, in high school, you and I recreated scenes from movies all the time.
Yeah. Well, there's one.
And that's a great place.
That's a good place to start.
But that's not really creative. That's
right.
Wanting to do what you already saw.
Well, right. And there's one where like that guy. Remember that guy, Red Bull guy, went up in the balloon and jumped out and parachuted from
from way
space or whatever.
Space. Yeah.
They have like Lego version of that. It's not even that good, and it's like a bazillion hits. And I'm like, I don't understand this. But I don't. There's a lot about YouTube I don't understand. So
that's true.
I'm like, why does this have a million hits? Well, and I don't even care about.
Well, I could tell you my thoughts on that, but we'll save that for another day.
Oh, okay.
Because that's a whole conversation of what's wrong with YouTube and people in general.
Yeah, but I have to say that the one thing, there's a lot of people on YouTube, and by a lot of people I mean whoever it is that likes our website, which after looking around, not very many. Mm-hmm. We have a couple 100,000 hits.
Right.
They've got millions and millions of hits.
Right.
They're like, make more. Okay, I don't think we're going to.
No.
Well, we might make something with Legos as a little fun thing, but it's not going to be Tex and Diego.
Right. No, Tex and Diego's done. We told the whole story.
Right. It ends out nicely. Mm-hmm. What's up with this, though? 120,000 hits on part 1, 40,000 hits on part 2.
No, it's the other way around.
Oh, right. It's, yes.
If it had been that way, I could explain it. Because it'd be they watched part 1 and thought, this is shit. I'm not going to watch part 2. But no, that means that they only watched part 2.
Yes.
And this is of Forbidden Island, correct?
Yeah.
What I don't understand is how they could come... Because the part 2 starts with, meanwhile...
I know. Like, you should come in and be like, I missed something.
Right. Maybe I should go watch part 1. Figure out how we got here.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Plus, if you're not watching part 1, you're not seeing the natives get all messed up, which is one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. But, so I have to say that, and then ultimately, the way I end up feeling about it is like, while it's fun, and it is really fun to do the Legos because you've got built-in, you don't have to be an artist as far as creating something out of clay.
Well, let me just go ahead and say this, which is what I was getting at earlier. Yeah. The reason we originally made the Lego films was because we really wanted to make a big-budget action movie that was like $150 million without having to find $150 million.
Yeah.
So if you look at our Tex and Diego movies, what you're seeing is a vast epic throughout time and space done
which would normally, if you did that live action, it would be like the biggest budget movie ever.
Right.
Yeah.
But
and then there's a million homages to a million action movies.
Right. See, but there's a difference between recreating a scene from a movie and doing an homage to that movie.
Yeah.
Ask Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, he knows, actually.
He does.
Actually does know about that.
Yeah.
But the it's just I feel like there's nowhere to go as far as a career.
Yeah, no.
Doing Lego movies. And it's really and there maybe was a glimpse of it when we started doing it, but now that Lego has just decided to do everything they do CGI, which is real disappointing to me. Yeah. It's such a huge opportunity to make really cool like stop motion commercials and stuff.
Yeah.
Using actual Lego people.
Well, yeah, and we had thought about maybe trying to find a way to, get these movies to Legos, and they've got their whole own department now doing that. So, I mean, it's not the same. And even at an earlier date and time, if you were a stop motion animator, you knew that you were going to have plenty of opportunities, say, at ILM, to do...
well, that's true, too. To do...
Tauntauns running in the snow. It's all stop motion animated.
Well, even Jurassic Park.
I know that they went for a long time thinking that they were going to do the dinosaurs stop motion. They eventually, obviously...
Some of them were. Some of that stuff was.
Kind of. Yeah. But, I mean, the big shots were all CGI. Yeah. That was the big deal about that movie at the time. But they did all sorts of tests with stop motion. Yeah. So it used to be the stop motion was really... You were planning to be a special effects artist, and now... although I know they do have some systems, I've seen this, where they basically, you have a stop motion puppet that you animate, and it goes into the computer.
Yeah.
But even those are really not the style anymore, because...
the only old guard guys left are the model makers and the pyrotechnics guys, really.
Right. And they've done away with a lot of what I was just talking about, because that was really a tool to get the old style animators up to CGI so they could participate and not just be SOL.
Yeah.
But the younger people nowadays, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah. So to me, doing the like if you're doing full on stop, like if you're doing Aardman style stop motion on your own, like do it, because that's a career starter and we need you. Right. But Lego movies, to me, it's fun. It's so time consuming that it's hard to do if you have a regular job. Yeah. So I don't see the upside at the end. I mean, I'm glad.
I don't feel like necessarily.
We did it when we were in school, though, so there was the time to do it. Right. I wouldn't be able to. I don't even think we have the time to do that today. Even just building the sets, and then that's my other gripe, is that everybody's just like, here's a scene from this movie, but I can see your couch in the background. Oh yeah. So no, it's not. Right. There's some really nice ones though, where they're doing like DSLRs and full lighting, and like the background goes out of like the guy who's doing Lego people bowling. Right. There's like, it's cool because it's in focus and he bowls and then it racks to the pins. Like he's got the DSLR going and that kind of stuff. So there's some nice ones like that, and there's some nice ones where people do animations on mouths. Oh, okay. See, that's really what I look for when I watch a Lego movie, and like I said, I in no way think that ours are like special by any means. No. But when I look at Lego movies, I do. Yeah. I mean, they're special to me, but that's because they're a period of my life that I really enjoyed doing. I don't expect them to be special to anyone else, let's put it that way. I do look to see how much creativity is being pushed through the Legos into my brain. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because if I could say one thing about Tex and Diego that I do think is that you can see from the first one to the fourth one a huge technological leap in how we did it. Well, that's true. The animation gets better. The special effects get better. Yeah. Visual language becomes more consistent. Yeah. And we could have done the same story in any medium. It wasn't about being Legos. Well, that's true. Wasn't funny because it was Legos doing this. Yeah. Legos were just something that you had a lot of, so we did that. Yeah. And that's really what I look for. Really, well, that's what I like to see too, and there are some really good ones out there. I believe that. I believe there's some fantastic ones, and I guess that's really what we look for in any film, isn't it? Well, yeah. It doesn't matter what the medium is. What I'm looking for is something that you have to say. Yes. But and by the way, completely, slightly related, but slightly, I found this website called Brickset, and they have every Lego set ever made listed by year. It's awesome. If you like Legos, it's awesome. Oh, yeah. Check it out. Found out I have a Lego from 1983. All right. That's my oldest Lego. Which one is that? Do you know? It's like you know what? It's in the fourth one. It's like the house that they go to at the beginning when they get into. Yes. And that was actually hand-me-down. That was not an original set. That was the first set that I actually owned was from 86. But so it's pretty good. Someone gave me that one after the fact, and it's from 83. That was the house right before they walk across the street? And play basketball, yeah. 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 Very cool. But anyways, I really quite enjoyed that website. If you're into Legos, go there because you'll see. And by the way, also, if you're into that, I get all sorts of people commenting on YouTube, hey, where'd you get that set? What's that set? Where's that set? Just go on this website. You'll find out where I got it, the store, that year. Yeah. And keep in mind, you've had these Legos for a long time. And can you have them? No. Right. The other one that I've seen a lot of, and I know we've tried to answer this question online, is where did you get your music? Yeah. Like anybody can have that music. It's soundtrack. It's soundtrack. Now, we assembled things to make them into an actual soundtrack for the movie. Soundtrack's a program that came with the older versions of Final Cut Pro. Right. And it just basically has tons of different loops, right, and then you layer them and mess with them and change the tempo and stuff to create original music that's royalty-free and stuff. So originally those movies had movie soundtracks as the scores. Right, because each one of those movie soundtracks either showed up because it fit the time or because we were doing an homage to that movie. Yeah. But then when we wanted to put them on YouTube, we had to redo the entire soundtracks. Right. So that's where that music's from. It's original, but it wasn't like composed. Right, so to speak. That being said, I like it. I like it too. Yeah. We're using it on this podcast. Yeah. But I've heard it in like movie commercials. I see it on, it uses the little Tex and Diego music a lot as Mythbusters. Yeah. Because they use that boom, down, 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 yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I guess that's where I stand on, as far as specifically the Lego stuff. It's fun, and I like to watch them, and everyone else should. But if you're trying to get into the industry, I don't really see a use. Because no one's going to hire you to like be a stop motion animator based on you doing Legos. That's for sure.
I don't think. Right. I don't think that they will, unless, like I said, you're displaying some awesome creativity through the Legos.
Yeah, like just doing smooth animation with Legos, I don't think is going to do it because it's going to be completely different. Like, I mean, we didn't even do math on ours, and that's why I was just a little stilted compared to some of today's.
Oh yeah, we didn't do math at all. We just kind of went space by space and then slowed it down to 18%.
Yeah. But like the people doing it today are very, very smooth, but still it's not going to apply to a 24 frame
right.
shot
I don't know
type situation.
I just imagine that stop motion's a hard avenue to get into.
I think it's very niche.
Unless you're really
many people doing it.
Right, you need to actively pursue it, and even then, it's going to be, you might best short.
Well, right, you should do some shorts, and you should be doing them not with Legos. Is what I'm saying. You should be doing them. You should be
something else. Yeah, something else.
Basically, an animator who can draw or create things with your hands. Animate them and also tell a compelling story instead of just reenacting a scene from a movie.
Yeah, but I don't know that Legos are going to be your best option.
No, but they're enjoyable. I'm glad that there's lots of little kids messing around with it because
yeah,
I like that. I like that that's something now that you can do with Legos. Like, I want to buy some more Legos so that I can make some more stop motion movies. That was not an option when I was a kid.
No, it was really like I'd never even
you just play with Legos, and I like that. That's one more thing because I'm a big fan of Legos, so that's one more thing to get people to play with Legos.
Yeah, but I mean, when we first did those, I didn't know of anybody doing stop motion, and maybe it's probably because YouTube
the internet there wasn't a lot of video because everyone was using a 56K modem.
Exactly, but nowadays, like I know Lego even has
they have
whole sets.
They have they have apps on your phone that are like movie maker apps, and they have contests all the time. So like I think that's a really cool thing for them to support.
Yeah.
A community of that because it's nice to do on the side for fun.
I just want my credit.
You just want your credit?
Yeah. I want someone to tell me that I am right, that they are really good.
Well, I appreciated the person who commented that, hey, these are pretty good for having been made 10 years ago. I was like, yeah, they were made 10 years ago.
They were.
On a HD, on DV. Just
That's right.
Mini DV.
Mini DV. It wasn't even right.
You can't even buy that anymore.
Right, this is back when pterodactyls were flying across
the sky. Cops are coming. What'd you do?
They found me.
Wait, what about pterodactyls? What did you just say about pterodactyls?
I was just saying that was a long time ago when pterodactyls were flying across the sky. I was making a slight hyperbole.
I see. All right, so let's move on past that. So that's, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you have any other thoughts, comments, concerns about the state of stop motion animation, and obviously we're still getting a few this year. We had both Frank and Weenie and Paranorman. Yeah. Both of which are fantastic.
No, it's kind of interesting. It's like all that's left is CGI or stop motion. It's weird that the standard old-fashioned
2D animation,
like that's the straight to video.
Right, and listen up, Disney.
Yeah.
You've got Pixar.
Listen up, Disney. I agree.
Yeah. You've got Pixar.
Why are you making
3D movies? Do what you do. Make me 2D movies. Last time you did that, Princess and the Frog, fantastic. I liked it.
I fell asleep.
I know you did. I have my theories on that too, but we're not going to talk about it.
It's because it was jazz.
I know.
That's why.
We're not going to talk about it.
All right.
We're not going to talk about it.
Okay.
Point is, Disney, do some 2D animation. I love it. I want more of it. Where is it? I don't know.
I don't either. All right, let's move on.
Yep.
Podcast. So this is what I discovered. I thought, we'll just record a podcast, and then we'll put it on the internet.
Yep.
Didn't do the math quite the way I should have up front. Luckily...
What's up with that?
Well, so first of all, it takes up space, surprisingly.
Wait, what?
So, like, this thing our last podcast came in at like 100 megabytes. I compressed it down to like 50.
Right.
But you got to put that 50 megabytes somewhere. And that's the one thing that the internet's great and it's free, but that's the one thing that costs.
Yeah.
So,
space.
There's a lot of websites out there that are like designed for hosting podcasts. Like Podomatic, I think, was one of them. There's like 3 or 4 like big ones that are like, here, host your podcast, and you pay them whatever, an annual or a monthly fee, and then that gives you the storage space and they give you the feed. I didn't want to do that because we're already paying for a website.
Right.
So, and we have a certain number of storage on there. So I went and figured out how to get them up on the back end of that. But, so you've got to do that. And then you have to make a RSS stream, which I don't know anything about this because I'm not a web designer.
Right.
RSS stream is like you can get like a news feed. You can like subscribe to news feeds. You have to make one of those for your podcast in order for any of the people to accept it. So the only way I could figure out how to do that is using WordPress. So I did that. But
RSS stream.
Yeah.
You know what that stands for?
I have no idea.
Oh, I don't either. I'm asking.
No, I have no clue. Something.
Because it sounds like a propaganda film from 1940s Nazi Germany.
Oh, RSS.
Yes.
RSS, like O-U-R,
yes.
not R,
yes.
the letter R.
Uh-huh.
So you have to get a stream up, and then you have to submit that stream to whoever. So, and chiefly would probably be iTunes would be the one that everyone wants it on, which I don't blame them.
Yeah, it sounds more official when it's on iTunes.
It definitely does. And there's a couple other ones like Stitcher and TuneIn, which I'm working on getting ours up on. Mm-hmm. A lot of these other ones, you have to like submit it, and they get back to you, and then they're like, nobody likes your podcast, we're not putting it on our site, stuff like that.
Oh, damn.
So there's that. So I would say that if you're thinking about doing a podcast, you should. Number one, because it's fun.
Yeah,
we
it's a lot
discovered.
of fun.
Number two, yeah, if you have a website that's hosting you and you can get you're getting whatever 10, 20 gigabytes, host it on there.
Yeah.
If you don't have a web presence at all other than social media or like a free WordPress page or something, then you're going to need to get one of these hosting sites. And they're not too much. They're like, $60 a year or something. But you have to be careful and make sure you look at the amount of space they're giving you, because if let's say your show is 100 megabytes, then 1,000 megabytes is a gigabyte. So that's a limited number of shows before you've already hit a gig.
Do the math, folks, is what we're saying here.
I will not do the math because I can't.
I understand.
So that's the math you have to figure out. And
basically, if it's 100 megabytes, that means 10 shows is a gigabyte.
Yeah.
If you can store 20 gigabytes, you're doing 200 shows.
Right, which is fine, because at a certain point, you're probably going to drop shows from the other end.
Probably.
If you're at 200 shows, then you'll probably start dropping episode as you add a new episode. You'll drop your first episode.
Well, ideally, if you're at 200 shows, that means that people are actually listening to you.
Well, right.
Because I can tell you right now, we're not going to do 200 shows if no one's listening.
That's true. Although, yeah, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. I wanted to talk about how I perceived a podcast as doing.
Please go ahead.
But let me finish this. And then I guess my thought is social media is how you're going to promote this, obviously.
Right.
So do that, post it, and you'll notice that we did that. It's posted like 7 million times on Facebook.
Yep.
iTunes, and then, and the other tip is this Google Feed Burner. That's the number one thing when I searched all the internets, was that you put once you get an RSS stream set up, you send it to FeedBurner, and they will make a new feed for you that is like less likely to have issues, and you can put in all that metadata for iTunes, like your little picture and your description and stuff, and then that's the feed that you submit to iTunes or to Stitcher or to whoever, all the podcast sites that are like collating all the podcasts. You submit that feed to them. And then the other thing about FeedBurner is that you can see the stats, so you can see how many people are downloading from the feed.
I see. Well, that's good just for, metrics and stuff.
Yeah. And then as far as recording it, basically what you need is microphones, probably a mixer, and something, and a way to plug that into your computer to record it. Or I guess you could just record it on like a video camera or something and then ingest that. Right,
unless of course you own a Nagra, and then you could.
What we're using is a giant, way too big Mackie 16-channel mixer, even though we're only using 3 channels of it currently.
Yes, but we have this for other reasons. We're just using it.
And then Austin's on a shotgun mic. Yep. I'm on a wireless lav. Whoa.
How's a shotgun?
Oh, okay. And then that's all being fed into our Mac, and we're recording it straight into Final Cut Pro X.
Right. Which is where we do the enhanced.
Yeah, YouTube version.
Right. Exactly.
So that's our setup. But I think you don't need quite this setup. And I think that really, these probably aren't the best mics for this. You'd want more radio-style mics.
Ideally, yes.
These are the mics that we have because we use them for production. But,
right.
And it sounds fine. You just hear the traffic.
Yeah, the people who I know who've listened to it told me they thought it sounded really nice.
Okay, good.
So
that's kind of what I figured out. So it's really the tough part is all the technical side that you have to figure out as far as websites and hosting and RSS feeds. But then, so that took me a couple days to figure out. Once you set it up, then it's just go, and you load a new podcast. It automatically goes into the feed, and then iTunes checks the feed every day and loads whatever new info it is, and Google's thing checks it every half an hour. So that's what's nice. So hopefully we'll be up on a couple of these other sites soon. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about, while we're talking about podcasts in general, you guys can help us if you like this by going on facebook.com/FITB Podcast, liking it.
Yes.
And then hitting the subscribe button on iTunes.
Yes.
And leaving a review on iTunes.
Right, with stars.
And the reason that helps is I can monitor how many people we have listening on Google, but it does it based on how many things pinged it that day.
Right.
So some days I'll be like, 17 people downloaded the podcast, and then the next day it'll say 5. But that's because 17 people did download the podcast, but they didn't subscribe.
Right.
So it didn't ping it again the next day.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying you have to subscribe by all means.
No, but if
you're liking it,
subscribe.
And you find yourself downloading each episode, then definitely subscribe, because that helps us know how many listeners we have. And then the other way to tell would be if you like us on Facebook, then that'll kind of give us an idea of what kind of audience we have, which is useful to us because...
But then we can tailor our shows to you, so to speak. I mean, we're going to do what we want to do, but...
Well, it's also motivation, too.
Absolutely.
It feels good to know that people are listening to it, and it doesn't take that many people for me to want to keep doing it.
Yeah, that way we have our Sally Field moment. Mm-hmm. You like me.
Really like me.
You really like me.
Yeah, and it's not going to take a whole lot of people for me to be motivated to do this, but if there's nobody, I'll be sad. Now, I have to say I was very pleased with how we did on our first week.
Yeah, we did pretty good.
I would say that if I had to guess, 60 or so people either somehow came in contact with it via YouTube or iTunes or what have you.
Right, and I don't know 60 people, so...
I don't know 60 people, which is really nice, and there was some really nice comments left on iTunes. Mm-hmm. Some people did review it, left nice comments. I know some of them, don't know some of them, which makes me really happy. So all you that we don't know personally...
Thank you.
You're awesome. Those that we do know personally, thank you for listening. Tell a friend.
Right.
And let's get the listenership going.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to have...
Oh, yes. I would like to introduce a segment that I'm going to be doing called Classics of the Cinema. And this is a segment where I want to bring up a movie that maybe you haven't thought about in a while, maybe you've never even heard of. Today is probably not that day, but you probably haven't thought of this movie in a while. And if you have, good for you. If you've never seen it, please check it out. What the movie I'm talking about this week is The Philadelphia Story.
Okay.
It's a pretty big classic.
Yeah. It's old, but it's
well
known.
Moderately well known.
Yeah.
People don't, in my experience, the people I run into don't tend to watch a lot of black and white movies, which I find very discouraging.
Yeah.
But this is a movie, 1940. George Cukor directed it. It's based on a play by Philip Barry. You definitely should go and check it out.
You should be able to find this pretty easily.
It's very easy to find. It's still the DVD is in print.
Yeah.
But the reason I highly recommend it is because I feel like you don't get this kind of writing very much nowadays. It's that old style, everybody's talking fast and being very, very witty in a very intelligent manner. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a great movie starring Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, James Stewart. Does it get better than that?
No.
I don't think so.
It doesn't.
And actually, people that you don't hear so much about, Ruth Hussey plays... Elizabeth Embry in the movie. Fantastic. It's actually a new kind of character for that time period because we're dealing in the World War II era and stuff like that. But she's a working woman.
Is she a hussy?
She is not.
Damn it.
No. But she's a working woman, very, very fast, very intelligent, keeps up pace with the men in the movie, which, for the time is...
Yeah.
Also, I would like to point out Virginia Weidler. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. But she plays this young girl, Dinah, who I don't know what kind of drugs they were on when they came up with this character, but she's very, very funny. She sings this whole... She even has one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie where she plays the piano, and you're like, what is going on here? Exactly.
What's she doing?
See,
these people are even like, what is she doing?
That's right. See, okay, this is what I'm talking about. So, it's scenes like this where the style of humor is just, it's a little bit old-fashioned, but very, very, very funny. And obviously you have 3 great performances from Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, James Stewart. You know, one of the reasons I thought about this movie was that since I don't even know if you can call it a trend anymore, because it just happens so often of remaking things.
Yeah.
Now, while I do not condone the constant remaking of things, if you're going to remake things, at least remake things that were good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I personally thought a few years ago this was a great candidate for remaking. You just take the same script, do it again, but, you know, you take George Clooney, Tom Hanks, maybe a Charlize Theron or something like that. You redo this movie. Yeah. I don't know who you would choose now because... You know, Tom Hanks and Jim Stewart, and Cary Grant and George Clooney.
Yeah.
Very similar. I don't know who you'd do now, and my fear is that it would be like, you know, one of the kids from Twilight or something.
Katharine Hepburn? Oh, who they would put in it, yeah.
Yeah, who they would put in it now. It's going to be Robert Pattinson. And just... And that I don't like. So I want a classy remaking, like the remaking of Sabrina.
Don't you have but see, sometimes I'm annoyed when they remake a really, I'm annoyed when they remake most things. But
Me too.
When they remake a really good movie, I'm like, why are you doing that? There was nothing wrong with that.
Yes. But because this is based on a play, people are doing the play often.
That's true.
Like, I would feel different about Casablanca.
Yeah, don't remake that.
Don't remake that.
Yeah.
But something like this...
This is based on something already.
I say you can do it again.
That's fair enough. And you could do a new adaptation.
Yeah.
Where you just... You go back to the play.
And
you rewrite it.
Modernize it.
You don't look at the script from this movie. Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just... It's a chance that... And what I'm saying is you got to do a classy remake. If you're going to do a remake, you got to do like they did with Sabrina, where they had Harrison Ford in the Humphrey Bogart role, you know.
Yeah.
Not a cheap remake. Just because even at this time... It was a big deal that you had all 3 of these stars in the movie. Now, a little different because back then there was a new movie every week. Yeah. So really the only drawback then was the stars who were in it. Versus nowadays it's much more the spectacle as well as the stars.
Yeah.
But back then it was just Jim Stewart comes out with a new movie. Doesn't matter what it is. Jimmy Stewart's in it. We're going.
Yeah.
So you need to kind of get that same thing. It's got to be some big name people. I don't know who the new Tom Hanks is. I say it's me.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I'll do the movie.
Do you want to do Joe versus the Volcano?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
I'd see you in that. They should remake that.
Yeah. I'll do that. I am available for that. So give me a call. You have my contact information.
You do.
So when you want to do the remake of Joe versus the Volcano.
You'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am not the new Tom Hanks, but I could do Joe versus Volcano.
I think you could.
Yeah.
What is it?
And from there, who knows, you know?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So what is it that makes it classic?
What makes it classic, obviously, is the
cast,
the trifecta of these 3 people, 3 of the greatest stars of all time.
Yeah.
As well as the reason I highly recommend it, once again, is the actual the screenplay, the writing of it.
Okay.
Very humorous, very fast paced, very witty.
Singing a song about Lydia,
of course. Very deep in terms of the number of layers. You know, it's in those days, you know, they made a lot of movies where we're talking about a lot of stuff, but if you're not paying attention, we're actually talking about like 3 or 4 levels down.
Yeah.
Because we can't actually, you know, talk about sex and stuff like that. So, highly recommended. I think anybody who watched it, even nowadays, even young people who think, I don't like black and white films, it'll make you laugh. It'll surprise you.
Yeah.
Go back, take a look.
Philadelphia Story.
See some Hollywood gold right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
You should.
I'll do it.
Okay.
All right.
Now, you saw Side Effects.
I saw Side Effects, now switching into a modern movie review. Right. Saw that like 2 weeks ago. I saw it actually right before we did episode 1, but we had that so packed with other stuff that
was overpacked.
It was way over bloated. So supposedly Steven Soderbergh's last movie, but it's like his 4th supposed last movie in a row. And now he's like, I'm going to do TV, and I'm like, I don't believe a word you say, Steven.
Yeah.
Because I think the last movie was Quarantine or whatever that one was. It was not Quarantine.
You're talking about Contagion?
Contagion.
Oh, I thought he had a last movie before
Did
that.
he have a last movie prior to that?
Yeah.
Because he did. Okay.
I thought he did.
Because he did Contagion. Then he did.
Well, because I know he was already talking last movie after Ocean 13. Because he was like, I've done my big budget thing now. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Well, maybe Che was supposed to be his last movie. I don't know. He did. I know that he claimed Contagion was. Then he made the one with the
right. And Barbra Streisand's retired, but she's back for one night only.
Yeah. Then he made the one about the action hero chick.
Oh right, I forget.
That was his last movie again, and then he did Magic Mike, which was also his last movie.
Right.
And then he made this, which is his last movie. Mm-hmm. So he's gonna make another movie.
Yeah.
This one was very good though.
I understand how he feels. Sometimes you're doing stuff and you're like, oh, this stinks. I don't ever want to do this again. But then you will.
And then you'll do it again.
Yeah.
This one was good. I liked it, having not really liked his last few efforts.
Okay.
I mean, I think the last movie I really liked from him was Traffic.
No, I liked Contagion.
Contagion was a big letdown to me.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Because I just, every time I watched it, I was like, there's an opportunity for something awesome to happen now, and then it wouldn't. I didn't hate it, but I was kind of like...
You wanted something else.
He missed a bunch of opportunities,
okay.
I thought.
Traffic. There wasn't something... What about Solaris?
No, Solaris... No, see, Solaris... That was one where I was like, why are you remaking that?
Okay, I agree with you there, but I enjoyed Solaris. I don't know that I understood Solaris.
See, well, yeah, I feel like Solaris and Event Horizon go in the same category, except I'd rather watch the beginning of Event Horizon than the beginning of Solaris.
You know what it is? I like the soundtrack to Solaris.
Oh, okay.
I just realized that.
That's what it is that you liked about it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And the sets were nice. So
yeah.
I'm looking at pretty pictures with the soundtrack that I like.
Yeah.
I realized I don't really understand that movie. I just like the soundtrack.
Yeah, well, that's a movie. It's a lot like Event Horizon. It falls apart after like the first act.
Right.
And you're like, I don't know what's going on anymore.
I liked what I was seeing, and then I lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm picking between the two, I'll take Event Horizon. So there's that. But it's Jude Law, and it's
Channing Tatum, right?
Channing Tatum, and then what's her face? The girl with the dragon tattoo.
Rooney Mara.
Rooney Mara.
And then is Zeta Jones in this?
Oh, Zeta Jones is in it. Yeah, Zeta Jones is an interesting character.
She takes herself way too seriously.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Oh, well.
No.
She does.
No.
I mean, she does.
I'm just wondering how her and Michael Douglas fit their egos in the same house.
Oh, I think he's like getting up there in age. I think he doesn't care anymore about his ego.
Maybe. I doubt it.
You're like, no, he doesn't.
I saw him the other night. He looked pretty serious about it.
I want to know if she's like, how come you're 40 years older than when I married you, but I only married you like 10 years ago? So it's about it starts off kind of slow, and you're like, come on, Soderbergh, like is this going to be one of your slow ones, or is this going to be something? And then it goes and it does like 8 twists and turns that are fantastic because it's intelligent enough that you're not like, I know what's going to happen in this movie.
Oh, okay.
You think you are, but you don't.
Okay.
And I can't remember if I predicted the ending or not, but it didn't matter because it's
a good cast.
It's a good cast, and Jude Law, I haven't seen him in so long. There was a time when Jude Law was in every movie that came out for like 3 years in a row. Mm-hmm. Then after AI, he went into hiding apparently.
Man, I love him in AI.
Yeah.
Gigolo Joe.
Well, that came out like he was an Enemy at the Gates.
I know.
He was in that. He was in like every other movie, and you were like, okay, enough of Jude Law.
Right.
And then he realized that, so he went away.
Right. Watch out, Channing Tatum.
Oh, I've already had enough of Tatum.
Yeah, exactly.
He's kind of got a puffy face.
Well, okay, we're getting off track.
Yeah. Well, he's in this movie. It's not that far off track.
No, that's why I brought him up.
They're both in this movie.
That's why I brought him up.
Tatum's not in this movie very much.
Oh. But because he plays the boyfriend of Rooney Mara.
He plays who's the husband. And he's been in prison. I'm not going to spoil the movie, don't worry. He's been in jail for like inside trading. But they like got married right before he went to jail. So they've been married for 6 years, and 5 of them
he's been in jail.
And so she's got like issues.
And we deal with the side effects of that?
She's got issues psychologically and him coming back and dealing with that. So she goes to see Jude Law, the psychiatrist. Actually, she tries to kill herself, and then he sees her and blah, 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 blah.
This all better happen within like the first 10 minutes.
This is all the beginning of the movie. So he starts giving her different medications and different treatments. and that's where the title comes in.
Okay.
But there's all sorts of behind-the-scenes conspiracy things going on with the stock trade and Jude Law.
Oh, so you're getting an inside picture of how the medicine business...
How like psychiatry.
Like the pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, there's a bit of pharmaceutical industry intrigue. There's the stock thing continues. That's a B storyline that's going on with the stock trading, and is Channing Tatum working with a guy from prison and doing more illegal stuff.
Oh, so it's really...
Rooney Mara is the main character. It's Jude Law and Rooney Mara. It's really Jude Law who's the main character, but Rooney Mara is the second main character.
So this is definitely a case where the trailers don't even begin to tell you what the movie's really about. I really like that.
I thought, based on the trailer, I thought Jude Law was the one having side effects.
I see.
He's not.
No.
It's Rooney Mara.
Gotcha. I see. I like that, though, when a trailer doesn't really tip its hand. Inception was a great trailer like that, where you saw...
You wanted to see it, but it didn't give away anything.
I walked in that theater having seen all the trailers, not knowing the first thing about what this was going to be about. As opposed to, let's just take the Italian Job.
Oh, yeah.
Where you never needed to see that movie because they told you the whole story in just the trailer.
It's true.
And my thing is this.
I like that movie, though. It's entertaining.
It is entertaining. It's nothing against the movie.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the trailer.
Yeah.
Although I do kind of have a problem. If you can sum your whole story up in a trailer. Mm-hmm. Do you have enough story?
I say no.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had to think about it for a second because I didn't want to say yes and then realize that Star Wars fell victim to it. But Star Wars trailers do not give away the movie.
No, they do not. They show you a bunch of stuff that intrigues you, and a bunch of where's that going to happen? How does that... People are yelling, no!
Always yelling no. So I would say in the fact that there's hardly anything out worth seeing right now,
go see
this, because it's Soderbergh, so you know it's going to be skillfully directed. You know the acting's going to be good. Obviously the cast of actors is great. And this is the first thing I've seen Rooney Mara in other than Dragon Tattoo. And I really liked her. I was like, good, I hope that you can parlay this into having a career.
Yeah, I like
playing a weird girl with a bunch of tats and piercings who's like doing drugs.
And that movie had at least one scene too many. We're talking about butt sex.
that was,
and I know it was part of the story. I
know, but yeah,
really,
yeah.
I felt like it had happened to me, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, that. So I would say go see Side Effects. I liked it, especially if there's nothing else for you to see, which I would argue that there isn't anything else for you to see at this moment.
Yeah,
go see it. In a couple weeks, there's a couple movies coming out, but it's good. It'll be twisty, turny, good acting, real kind of understated style. Mm-hmm. So you focus on the characters and the dialogue.
Okay.
Well written. So I would recommend that.
Go do it.
All
so
right.
I think that's it for this week.
That is it.
Yeah.
I think we've managed to shorten our show by about 20 minutes.
Are you kidding me?
We're about an hour and 15 in right now.
Okay, we're going to need to cut some of this out.
You'll know if we cut some of this out because it will not be an hour and 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
So
our topic for next week?
Yeah, our topic for next week, student films.
Student films.
We're going to... So
film school films.
Someone's going to get pissed off at us.
Definitely. I hope so, because we definitely have some opinions on this.
To pick.
Yeah. And of course, we'll talk about some other things, and we might even throw in maybe a review of the new Tomb Raider game next week.
Oh, the video game review.
Yeah.
That'll be a first one of those. I heard that's coming out.
Yep, that's coming out. So we'll probably get a little taste of that.
Yeah, so we'll be back in about 2 weeks.
And look forward to Film School Films. Don't do it.
Don't. Why do you have to do that?
Why?
Why does it have to be about that?
That's the name of the segment. Film School Films.
Why? Yeah.
Yeah.
So remember to like us on our Facebook page.
Right, and review us on iTunes. Give us 5 stars, or 3 stars are up. And Facebook.com, FITB Podcast.
We'll see you on there. Like us. Give us any feedback, any comments, any suggestions for the future.
Video Enhanced iPod podcast on
YouTube.
Yep. YouTube.com/FITB Films.
Website, fillintheblankfilms.com. Twitter me at GPL Films.
And me at AustinJD14. Check it out. Go see Philadelphia Story. Go see Side Effects.
Tell your friends about the podcast. Subscribe it. Review it.
Yep.
5-star it. Listen to it.
Yep.
Love it.
And we will see you in 2 weeks.
Take it to the streets.
Take it to the streets, folks. Yeah.